Can I take you on a 7-day trip to California with me? We ended up losing 1 day in Las Vegas. But when a layover turns into a canceled flight, you try to make the most of it. And then we finally made it to Sacramento. I was invited as the keynote for Fashion and Faith from the Tarbiyah Institute. I spoke about how we can nourish our relationship with hijab and continue to show up unapologetically Muslim in a world that tries to take us down. The speech was a huge success, and I hope it's the first of many. Then it was time for the 3-hour journey to Yosemite. Make sure you have a reliable car and a good driver. We rented this Bronco at the airport, and it turned out to be the perfect car for this journey. My husband switched from the highway to the scenic route, and I did not realize what was in store for us. Miles and miles of mountain with barely any guardrails. This was me while the kids and my husband were completely fine, and my daughter gave me her Squishmallow for emotional support. For our 2-day stay in Yosemite, I really wanted a place that was tucked away in the mountains and relatively private. This house had 4 bedrooms. You can easily bring your family and friends along. An outdoor jacuzzi, as well as beautiful, stunning views, especially at sunset. An outdoor pool and neighbors so far away you need binoculars to see them. We roasted marshmallows under the night sky and prepared for day 4. I stayed awake after Fajr to see the sunrise and enjoy the jacuzzi without the kids. And then it was time for another windy mountainous road to the actual Yosemite National Park. We used a lot of tips from a Yosemite travel blogger who said that the line to go into Yosemite can sometimes take up to 3 hours. For us, it took about 30 minutes, so we were happy about that. You have to register online and then pay $35 for 3 days worth of going in and out of the park. We wanted to see the giant sequoia, so we parked our car and took this free shuttle, and this was the first view that we saw. These giant sequoias are hundreds to thousands of years old. To protect yourself from the heat, I would suggest a stroller, wagon, umbrellas for adults, because although the trees are huge, they don't provide too much shade, so it was very, very sunny. And I personally had to hang back with my 9-year-old while my husband went ahead and saw this tree. It's called the Grizzly, and it's more than 3,000 years old, the oldest in the park. It's not too far of a hike, especially on a paved walkway, to go and see the Grizzly, so it's definitely worth it if you are prepared. But I also found that it was pretty serene to just find a good spot and take it all in. My kids were journaling the whole time, so we went to the visitor center and got some stamps. And then we took the same free shuttle back to our car and headed to our next destination, which was Glacier Point. I thought at this point I was getting used to the windy roads, the cliffs, and the high elevation. This spot reminded me of the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia. As long as you start off the day early, you can definitely do multiple things in one day. We did the Mariposa Valley, sequoia trees, as well as Glacier Point all in one day and still got back to our Vrbo at a reasonable time. The park offers a variety of different views around Glacier Point, which centers this huge rock. And when you're driving past this lookout, you don't even know until you get out of the car that there's 2 waterfalls. So don't miss the opportunity to get out the car at this point. Traveling through these mountains had me thinking a lot about the ayats of the Quran that remind us that the mountains will become dust and they will crumble on the day of judgment. And it's an excellent reminder to stay humble in front of Allah, who has created us all. And just when you think that you're done, you're not. You didn't reach the pinnacle just yet. The actual point is more than 7,200 feet in the sky, and we went all the way up there. In Virginia, there's the Shenandoah Mountains, and Hawksbill is the highest point. We've gone there more than 4,000 feet. Being more than 7,000 feet in the sky was a whole different animal. It seems like most people go to that little store and they grab some ice cream, so we just followed suit. We got some ice cream and we just sat there for a little bit and took it all in. Isn't it sad that babies will not remember any of these things, but it's just so enjoyable to have them with you. We took off the top of the Bronco. It was time for the journey back down. Another tip is to be very prepared for a hot day and a very cold evening. So in addition to snacks for the day, make sure you also bring something to keep yourself warm. Since the top was off, I figured let me just put my phone outside of the top so I can show you guys why I was so deathly scared, especially when there's no trees on the side like this clearing right here. It's really just the edge of your car and the cliff. There is nothing else saving your life. So I was terrified. Alhamdulillah, we got back home safely and prepared for the next day. We had explored the mountaintop, so now it was time to do the valley. But first, I started off the day with the pool. There were such stunning views on the way down. You can see Glacier Point from a different angle as well. And the waterfalls that you saw from the top, now you can experience them from the bottom, as well as ones that you hadn't seen from the top at all. You can rent or bring your own bikes or rafts because there are lakes that you can swim in. So make sure you bring a change of clothes and just fully enjoy the meadow. This area is called Yosemite Valley, and it features the Yosemite Falls. I made a video here at these waterfalls with a particular message to my Muslim sisters who sometimes feel like we stick out in environments like this where everyone's wearing tank tops and bike shorts. You can wear your modest dress wherever and whenever you want, and you stand out for the right reason. By the way, this dress and matching hijab is from my collection, so go ahead and check it out. When I posted these clips to my stories, I think I got the most questions about where exactly this is in Yosemite Falls. This is Swinging Bridge. We walked across the street from Yosemite Falls to the Swinging Bridge where this very clear cold lake was, but if you are prepared, you can fully get in. There's a lot of people that were in their rafts and everything, so it's a really nice place to take a swim. That day we were actually leaving Yosemite Valley and headed to Monterey Bay. Along that 5-hour drive, we stopped by this valley that was so serene The sun was setting and it was just beautiful. We passed by an In-N-Out and I was like, oh my God, that's dinner. That's dinner, because it's going to be a 10 out of 10. And it wasn't. I'm so sorry, but at least it was food. The hotel we were staying in Monterey Bay had this beautiful rooftop. So I thought it was perfect timing to get some content for my abaya sets. This is the Anna abaya set from CMB Styling. Comes with a matching hijab, matching niqab. It billows in the wind. It has this beautiful ruffling and it's very accommodating to a curvaceous shape or someone who's plus size, moms, pregnancy. It is just perfect for us. It's fully stocked in 6 colors, so go ahead to my link in bio and check it out. Monterey is the cutest little town. It has a beachfront. There are seals and a marina. There's a lot of water activities. I saw people parasailing. There was vending. There's lots of restaurants and shopping. You can go whale watching. If the schedule had allowed it, I would have gone whale watching, even though whales are my #1 fear, because I was already conquering fears by being on the side of these mountains. And although the little town of Monterey did not have a lot of mountains, we were on our way that day to Big Sur, which has some of the most iconic cliffs in that area. Monterey is only about 45 minutes away from Big Sur, which is another national park. But this time, because you're driving on the coast, you not only have mountains, but you also have the ocean. And the anxiety ended up taking over me again. But just like the first time when we were on our way to Yosemite, I was able to get through it. And I ended up walking to that cliff and I took in that scenery. And we were really on the edge of a cliff and underneath were crashing waves, people surfing, and I took my deep breath and conquered my fears again. I'm originally from Chicago, so I'm used to being on flat land. And although I've lived in Virginia for 12 years, we experience the mountains sometimes. But like I said, these mountains with cliffs and ocean and 7,000-foot elevation was not something I was ever used to. But that's a part of the experience. And that's one of the exhilarating things about being a mom, because you do things that you're fearful of because you're raising children who have an open mind and they are ready to go and they're adventurous. So you kind of swallow your fears and do things for the sake of them. And it ends up changing a whole lot inside of you as well. And on our final day, we just traveled back to Sacramento to be able to make our flights on time. This whole adventure started off with an email from Tarbiyah for me to give a keynote address at a faith and fashion event, and it turned into an epic California adventure. There's so much more to explore about California, so I can't wait for the next time.